Past, Git has normally been the one to do the introduction. She always introduces this portion of the user meeting as her favorite part, and I always concur. So in the absence of Git having said that, I will still concur that it is my favorite part of these user meetings. And well, let's see, 2016, APL's 50th year and our 8th year in running the competitions. We started at Princeton in 2009, and I think I'm the only person that's been involved in the competitions from the beginning, either as a judge or helping to coordinate it. And it's also our 4th year of working with a company they were student competitions, but they shortened it to SCORE. And so they provide the hosting services, and they get the word out to universities, and so they give us our web presence for the competition. And so I also want to thank our sponsors, APL Italiana, Fiserv, and SimCorp. And then we also have a few anonymous sponsors, and while you want to remain anonymous, we know who you are, and we thank you very much. And then finally, I want to thank the judges. It's especially this year, we had a shortened window in which to judge the competition. And because of the timing, we wanted to make sure we could announce the winners so that they could make travel arrangements to make it here to Scotland. So we judged all the entries in just a couple of days. And so I want to thank Adam and Fiona and Dan for their help in the judging. So this year, again, we've done it this way for the past few years, where we've had 2 phases. The first is 10 simple one-liners, and then the phase 2 is in 3 areas of concentration: finance, bioinformatics, and general computing. And in terms of participation, it's actually remarkably similar to last year, which I'm a little disappointed with, but nonetheless we had good quality entries. But in phase 1 we had 42 submissions. We actually had probably close to 80 submissions. A lot of them were empty. Some of them had C code in them. Some of them had complete gibberish in them. Or the ones I liked were the ones that typed the answer that we had written to the sample problem back into the answer space. Well, so they got it right, but it wasn't very APL-like. And then for phase 2, we had 15 submissions. And this year, students could submit in any or all of the 3 areas of concentration. So it presented a little bit of a judging challenge, because an individual might score highly in more than one area. And so there was some question about, well, do we give more credit for people that that do more work? And what we tried to do is we tried to pick the best result, the best entry in each of the 3 categories. And so Charles pointed out a slight glitch in yesterday's presentation, and I would like to say that actually that's our fault, because that's a test case. When we write the problem sets, we come up with a number of sample cases in the problem description. And then when we judge the problems, we run the submissions on an expanded test cases. And the one that you pointed out yesterday was one we didn't catch. So guess what? You'll see in a bit. Prizes. Okay, so for the top 15 phase 1 submissions, there was a $100 prize. And for phase 2, we had first and second prizes for each area of concentration. So in previous years, we've only had 1 grand prize winner, and this year we had 3. I just wanted to share one competitor's impressions with you. About himself, he says, on Wikipedia, I accidentally clicked on the link to the APL page. So the first thing I was wondering is what page has a link to an APL page that you could actually click on? Because in his description, he was talking about looking at Fortran, which is what his father programmed in. But I went out to the Wikipedia Fortran page and did not find a link to APL. But anyhow, he says, I was captured by the few simple examples and was very impressed by the game of life one-liners. So once again, John Scholes work has effects that just continue to ripple through. And that was almost exactly a year ago. And about the competition, this is a great way to spread APL. More people should know about it. Who disagrees? And he's doing his best to get others interested. And the problems proposed were all very interesting, but he particularly enjoyed the last two in bioinformatics. And he says he'll be participating again next year and hopefully with a few friends as well. And that's one of the reasons that we do these competitions, is to generate that kind of enthusiasm for the language and to bring in the next generation of APLers. So he's a 16-year-old high school student in Geneva, Switzerland. So hopefully he'll be participating in the competitions for a few years to come. So I want to talk a bit about the future of the competition. Some things we want to think about. The format. Is the phase 1, phase 2 format good? Is doing the area of concentrations, do we have the right area of concentrations? Are there others we should consider? The platform, do we want to continue to host it with SCORE, or is it something maybe we want to put up under the Dyalog.com domain, under a My server? And so these are things that we're going to think about over the next few months. And also the timing. Right now, the timing is typically where the contest is announced in the late spring, and if we do it much earlier, then people run up against finals time at university. So if we time it so that they're solving the problems over the summer, that's typically when a student would have a little more free time to participate. But it also pushes us up against the timing for the conference or the user meeting, in that we have to get the entries judged, the winners announced in time for them to make travel arrangements. So what I'd like to do is I'd like for you guys to help, please. Contribute problem ideas. We had several people contribute some problems, and we were able to use some of them. Steve Mansour gave us a couple of the problems that we used. Charles has given us some bioinformatics problems that we didn't use this year, but they're in the pool of problems to choose from. Bob Smith gave us some problems. I think Stefano has given us problems as well, in a good sense. And Paul Grosvenor, yes. Oh, actually, the word matching, the drug name matching problem came from Paul Grosvenor and Optima, and we really, really appreciate that. That was a really interesting problem with a lot of data that we couldn't have generated. So the other thing is spread the word. Tell people about the competition. Get students involved. If you have kids who are students, get them involved. If your kids have friends, tell your kids to get them involved. And then be a judge. So, no, seriously, if you would be interested in helping to run the competition or contribute in any way, talk to us, and we would gratefully welcome the help. And so, the winners. The non-student winner is an ex-IP Sharp person, Mike Powell. And he wrote an excellent entry. It was kind of neat. He's an IPSA person I don't know. How many people know Mike? Okay, a few. I've heard the name, but I don't know him. And then we had runners-up in each of the categories. For bioinformatics, it's Louis, okay, help me with the, Defaucon? Okay. He's actually the 16-year-old. So like some of the other competitors who have become bridesmaids and then brides, or runners-up and then winners, maybe we'll see him standing up here next year. And then we have Rafael Rodriguez from the University of Cape Town. It seems like we had a lot of entries from South Africa this year, and that's a good thing. And then in general computing, Immaculate Moshe, who's also from the University of Cape Town. So maybe that's the next hotbed of APL activity, I don't know. And so what I'd like to do now is I'd like to turn the microphone over to Niels Hallenberg from SimCorp to do the presentation of the grand prizes.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to represent SimCorp for this particular thing. I think in SimCorp we go to work on a Monday morning and we do stuff that bring business value to SimCorp, and sometimes we kind of forget where the insight really comes from, actually working with problems, actually setting time aside to try to do some ingenious stuff. And for that reason, I'm really happy that we do stuff like this, competitions like this, support student projects, or even, as Martin Elsman talked about yesterday, about a bit of research. So I think it's important that we do this. So I'm really happy about this. Joshua, David? Yeah. Here you go. Absolutely, congratulations.
Thank you.
And then Janos Batik. Thank you very much. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Niels.
Thank you.
But please stay with us to tell us about the use of APL at SimCorp.
There were 3 grand prizes, but we only presented 2 of them. The third recipient had requested to receive his anonymously, even though he gave a talk yesterday. So we respect his wishes and congratulate him nevertheless.